Hi, hello, I'm Sam Harrison. I read, review and discuss fantasy and science fiction books, and today we are doing the Friday show. So every single Friday I sit down with you guys and I talk you through what I've been reading this week, videos I've been making this week, the books I'm going to be reading next week, and then the videos I'm planning on making next week. So kind of a update on what's going on, and then a little bit of a forward look, so that if you are new to the channel or you're interested in what's coming up, maybe even if you want to read along with me, that'll be something that we can cover. So let's talk about what I have been reading. So primarily this week, I've been reading Shield of the Mothership by J.C.M. Byrne. So this is the 7th, I think, book in the Hybrid Helix. I've read all of them, obviously, because it's a sequential series. This one has been really good so far. I enjoy all of these books. So all of the Hybrid Helix books I think are great fun. But this one I feel like is a little bit of a step up from the last 2 or 3. So I think that J.C.M. Byrne is kind of going in these arcs, and I feel like we're coming to some big stuff in this one. So there's already been some like hints at some of the like really big lore stuff. So that has been really, really interesting, and I'm very curious as to like I feel like we might learn more in this book. I'm at the like 70% mark now, I think. I've just been the world's busiest boy this week. I have not actually had an evening free to sit down and read since Sunday or Monday. So all of my reading has been like snatched around the rest of my life. But hopefully, I think the Kindle says I have like 3 hours left of reading, which is weird because it was like 8 hours when I started and I'm quite a way through. Anyway, but yes, I've got about 3 hours worth of reading left. I expect to finish that this weekend. So really enjoying that book. And there's also there's hints towards a big confrontation that I have been expecting and anticipating for a while with one of the series, I guess, antagonists, which, really looking forward to. Also, the cover has a giant kaiju on what looks to be a, like, space city thing. So, super hype to read more of this book. I've always liked the Hybrid Helix. I think they're super fun. That they are comic booky, and also very, very good sci-fi. So Joe has a lot of the like concepts of how it all works in his head, and it's really good. Like I feel like he understands the universe and the technology and how it all works, and I really, really like that. He also, because Joe's a martial artist, like as his hobby or whatever, all the action that is like fighting action is fantastic. Last night I was reading a chapter that was like a boxing match, basically, between two superpowered characters, and it was so thrilling, so well written. It's like when you go through, like, John Gwynne is really fantastic at writing sword fights and stuff, because he does fantasy reenactment. So like he knows, well, not fantasy reenactment, Viking reenactment. So like he knows what it's like to swing a sword. He knows what it's like to, actually like match wills against somebody in a while, yes, it's like a role playing fight, but like he kind of knows how it works, and you can really feel that in his writing. Like I would even say that if you put J.C.M. Byrne, you put up the Hybrid Helix action, I would say in terms of like hand-to-hand, fist fighting, that stuff, it is like top tier. Like you've got, I would say, if you're looking at like martial arts in books that I have read personally, Fonda Lee, the Greenbone saga, like she also dabbles in martial arts stuff. So like her and Joe, you can tell like they know how fights flow. They know how to describe like impacts, how to describe the like minute movements that characters will make. And like I'm not a martial artist, like I've never done martial arts or anything like that. I do love martial arts movies, and there's one I really like boxing movies. I'm not a huge fan of actual boxing, but I love the movies. And Joe describing this chapter as basically like a boxing match, and he even like it's referenced in the chapter, like Rohan says, I'm boxing you, basically, because the other character's like, this is you're doing all this weaving and dodging, it's cowardly, and he's like, it's not cowardly, it's boxing. Yeah, really liked that chapter. Like that chapter will probably be a big standout fight for me. Like if we were talking, actually genuinely, if we were talking like as an award at the end of the year, like best action scene, that would probably be one that sticks in my head. Really liked it. Maybe it's recency bias because I literally read it last night. I read it, I got home from doing the weekly food shop at 11 p.m. My wife had already gone to bed, and I was like, okay, I need to put all the shopping away because like I can't just leave it out. So I put all the shopping away, and then I realised that there was loads of like house chore, like loads of the daily chores. My wife had obviously not seen that they hadn't been done, so I had to do those. And I sat down after like finishing my day's worth of jobs, work. I had to go to a work event during the day, and I sat down at 5 to midnight, and I was like, I need time for myself. And I had had a coffee before going out to do the weekly shop, because I always like to, I don't normally have caffeine in the evening, but I had one because I was like, it's so late, I'm so tired. I didn't even leave the house till 8:30 to do the shopping. And I was like, it's so late, I'm so tired, and I don't want to fall asleep at the wheel while I'm driving to the shop. So I was like, I have a coffee. So I was still awake enough to read. So at like 5 to midnight, I sat down and read 3 chapters, which will tell you, A, that the book is absorbing enough that it will keep me awake past midnight, which extremely few books are doing. And also tells you how little time I've had to actually read this week, because I was like, I'm going to take some time for myself. It's going to be these 3 hours. 3 hours? 3 chapters. But yeah, really enjoying that book. While I was doing the shopping last night, I really wanted to listen to an audiobook, and I don't know if I've mentioned this to you guys, but I have not, whenever I do the shopping, I always like to listen to an audiobook, and I've not had an audiobook on the go. So I just started Death Tax by Andrew Givler. So yeah, got to listen to like 2 hours of that while I was shopping last night. And that is also very good. So Andrew Givler and JCM Burns, they're kind of like writing style, I guess, like the style of like maybe the like sensibilities, I guess, are kind of similar. So they flow quite well together if you're reading them both, but they're also very different in terms of character and genre. So Rohan is like an older character. I say older, he's like in his 30s, I think. So he's like my sort of age, I guess. He's older, he's jaded from tough past, whereas the main character in Debt Collection, so is Death Tax, Matt, he's a lot younger. He's he's gone through some shit, because obviously he's the protagonist in an urban fantasy series, but like it's a different kind of gone through some shit than Rohan. Anyway, so yeah, I managed to listen to 2 hours of the book last night. I ended up pausing it before I was done with the shopping, because I didn't want to start a new half-an-hour chapter right at the end. But yeah, really enjoying that so far. I'm going to continue to listen to that book on my runs and at the gym. So should hopefully get the majority of that listened to pretty quickly. I do about 2 hours of exercise a day. Well, it depends on the day. So some days I'll do most of my gym sessions are around an hour, and then my runs are either like 40 minutes or an hour. Sometimes they're like 2 hours, but that's kind of, so I often end up doing around 2 hours of exercise if you include like getting ready beforehand, walking up to the road to, from the house to do, walking up to the main road from the house to do, start my run, things like that. Yeah. Basically, yes, about 2 hours of exercise a day. Anyway, so for when the audiobook is like 10 hours, I can listen to that pretty quickly. Anyway, so that is going really well. And yeah, I'm really enjoying that. I'm looking forward to reading more of it. And I was talking to Andrew recently because he is just about to release a new book through Simon and Schuster. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. You're being traditionally published, because he's an indie author for his deck collection series. Those are all indie. But he was like, yeah, I'm being traditionally published by Simon and Schuster, and his new series is a progression fantasy or lit RPG. Whatever those are, whichever one of those it is, it's that. I think lit RPG. It's called Ironbound, and I said, I messaged him and was like, hey, can you give me a contact at the publisher to get a review copy? And he was like, I'll just send you a review copy. So I do have a copy of that. And he also mentioned when we were chatting that the next deck collection book is currently being recorded in audio. So one assumes that will actually be out soon. I might save it because I love that series of books, and because that is an urban fantasy that has a really strong audio, I will probably save that for one of my counter programmings for Malazan. So I think we've talked about this in the past, but if you're new here, if you're joined because I've said I'm reading Malazan, which a few people have, when I read Malazan, I'm going to be purely eyeball reading it. I'll use ebooks, but like it'll be mostly, physical book, ebook. And then when I need an audiobook during that time, I'll be kind of trying to counter program it with something that's very, very different. So I'm thinking of like Kronos Chronicles, urban fantasy, the next deck collection book, urban fantasy, Dungeon Crawler Carl. That's kind of where I'm thinking I'm gonna, because like Malazan is very serious, it's very dense, it's very 1,000-page books, whereas those are much more like fast, fun, free flowing sort of experiences. So that's kind of where I'm thinking about going. I was like, oh, I could read the Rise of the Ranger books, because I did enjoy what I read of the first book, but decided to put it down so I could focus on the things that I said I was actually going to read in my TBR. I was like, I could read those, and then I was like, actually, I kind of would rather. I don't want to read fantasy, epic fantasy, at the exact same time as I'm reading epic fantasy. So I'm not going to do that. I probably will start that series, the Echo Saga. I say start. I've already started it. I probably will read that series, the Echo Saga, because I enjoyed what I read of it. It was very much like, what if you took the character of The Witcher and plonked him in like a more traditional epic fantasy style setting. So it kind of felt like taking The Witcher and putting him in Raymond Feist's Magician Rift War series, because that is quite a traditional fantasy series, and I really liked that concept. Like, give me a world that's got dwarves, elves, wizards, and then pull this character Geralt of Rivia, basically, or pull a Witcher-style Monster Hunter character and put them in that world. I think that was quite interesting, because obviously the world of The Witcher very much fits with the character of The Witcher. It's very grim. It's very, it's full of dangerous monsters everywhere. People are kind of very self-serving, and the world is this kind of grim medieval sort of place, and the magic is very like fairy magic, you know, like it's not like I'm a wizard and I'm casting a spell. It's like I can do a glyph and some fire will come out. And the monsters are like gross fairy ghost things that have like possessed a town or like all that sort of stuff. And it's interesting to take a character like that, very much like, from the bit I've read, very much like Geralt, and plonk him in a more traditional high fantasy setting. Interesting. And that's one of the reasons why I'm really drawn to reading more of it. And a lot of the reviews for it are extremely strong. And the people that don't like it also don't like books that I really love. So, like, I was like, okay, this is basically a vote of, like, you should read this book. Anyway, so, yeah. In terms of forward planning, so when I have finished reading Shield of the Mothership, the next logical step will be to go on to, I'm so bad at this. I can never remember the name of this book. I feel like it's called like Whispers of Darkness, or Where Darkness Gathers. It's called Where Darkness Gathers by Philip Chase, I think. Sorry, Philip. Yeah, really looking forward to going back to the world of Idan. I have absolutely no idea what this book is about. All I know is that it is in the world of Idan. I don't know whether it's a prequel, sequel, sidequel. Really looking forward to reading it. The final book in the Idan trilogy, Return to Idan, was my book of the year last year, and was it was like a shock in terms of I was just not prepared for how much I loved it. So that would be what I'll be moving on to next. We are running out of road in September though, and I knew that 5 books was too ambitious for Self-Pub September, but I did not. I thought that I might have a bit more time to read than I actually did, and I was like, well, 3 of those books are audiobooks, so I'll be able to nail those while I'm doing stuff. And I basically took like 2 weeks off of listening to audiobooks because I was like, oh, I don't want to start don't want to start Death Tax right now. Should have started Dungeon Crawler Carl. That's what I actually should have done. But c'est la vie. So yeah, I'll be reading Death Tax, I'll be reading Where Darkness Gathers, and when I finish Death Tax, I will be starting Dungeon Crawler Carl Book 5. Can't remember what the name of that is. I want to say The Butcher's Masquerade, but I could be very wrong. Other than that, that's everything on the books front. YouTube videos this week. So this week Matt and I closed out the Wheel of Time. The one thing that we talked about in there that I probably need to relay to you guys if you are not Wheel of Time spoiler discussion viewers, is that we are going to be continuing on with monthly spoiler discussions. Matt and I will be reading Malazan together. What the plan is, 1 book a month, which would have us. So we're starting in October. So October, November, December. So we'd be finished in like June, July next year if we keep to that schedule. We almost certainly will lose that schedule. The other thing I was going to say was, and the other thing I was going to say is, I have started to set up a Discord for subscribers of the channel. I mean, if you're not a subscriber, you can still join, but like I've built a Discord. I feel like I'm almost ready to share it with the world, but I was originally planning on sharing it when I got to 2,000 subscribers as like a, wow, we've reached a landmark, here's a new thing. But it's taking a really long time to get to 2,000 subscribers because the channel growth has massively stagnated. We're talking like it's growing like a third of the level it was growing last year. So, but that's fine. If I've reached the maximum audience for the channel, I'm absolutely fine with that. The one thing I want to say is like, I would like to be able to chat more, with the audience, and I'm really bad at replying to comments. I do go in and read them, but oftentimes I will be like, I'll read them quickly when they come in and be like, I'll reply to this later, and then not do that. So yeah, I was thinking that a Discord would probably actually be the best way for me to keep up with you guys in the community and let you know what I'm reading in between videos. And just kind of like get more book recommendations and hear more about you guys. Because I started this channel because I wanted to get the thoughts about books out of my head. And what ended up happening was that is going great. But now I feel like this conversation being very one-sided, I kind of want to hear the other way. I want to chat to you guys a bit more. So that's where we're going. Discord, I think I'll probably launch the Discord when we start Malazan proper. So sometime in October. The other thing I'm going to be doing is we'll be reading, planning on reading some horror stuff in October. We've talked about this already. Anyway, so videos next week. So Monday, there should be a review. Oh, it'll be Northern Lights on Monday. Unless I finish Shield of the Mothership, I might end up filming the Northern Lights review and then holding it until it's not Self-Pub September anymore. And then filming the Shield of the Mothership review as well on not on Monday. I have to film the Shield of the Mothership review at some point. Because hopefully I'll finish that. What else did we need to discuss? I think that's everything. Still really enjoying Peacemaker. Just watched the latest episode this morning. Fantastic show, fantastic episode. John Cena continues to be a delight. The most annoying thing about Peacemaker is that it is weekly. I just want to binge watch it. I binge watched the first season and loved it, and I'm sad that I can't do that this time. In terms of other stuff, that's it. I've literally done nothing but work and exercise this week. So hopefully next week we'll have a lot more to discuss. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you are reading this weekend. If you are not subscribed already, which is an absolutely mad choice if you've watched 22 minutes of this video, then please do subscribe. I'd love to have you. And of course, like the video if you liked it, and I will speak to you on Monday. Goodbye.